governor did not spend close to 1 billion naira on feeding and welfare in the third quarter period of 2023, as reported in the media. So in a press statement signed by Kazir Uko, the chief press secretary to the governor, said, Governor Alex Oti explained that it has only spent a total of 223,389,889 kobo 84 cents, I guess, on meals and refreshment for the period. That's the third quarter of 2023, that is. According to the press release, the figure captured the expenditures of all the ministries, departments, and agencies, not just those of the office of the governor, as contained in the social media report. The stated figure covers expenses for social events such as retreats, conferences, and related events. For welfare, the Abia State government has so far spent a sum of 397,520,734 kobo. The welfare expenditure is in line with the State Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainability Program, an initiative of the federal government. Also note that the welfare expenditure covers all the ministries, departments, and agencies, and not just the governor's office, as wrongly alleged. The press statement's expenses under welfare deal with issues of health, rehabilitation, and public emergencies. It further said Governor Oti would always uphold transparency in his administration. So now here is the thing. When that report of 927 million, almost a billion, came to the fore yesterday, I saw that story first on X, and I'm like, wait, how realistic is this figure? Now I realized it wasn't coming officially from the Abia State government, and then it was coming from a different body that collated the data as clearly depicted from the Abia State government. That's fair, but the concern here then is, why would do all of this and wonder to ourselves, in the name of media reports or social media piece, or even as a recognized media brand, does your brand mean anything to you? Does your name mean anything to you? I'm asking because when you spread some of these rumor, when you spread some of this info, when you carry some of this news, you are hurting people. You are hurting not just because you think, okay, government is far away from us, we can't reach them. But the truth is, when you take such actions, you're hurting a lot of persons. And because a lot of persons are being hurt, it trickles down. Now, if for a governor who is rash in his approach to things, may have even fired the accountant general, as this case may be, hoping that, oh, the person may have made a mistake, or they would have, stolen money to update that figure, sorry, to inflate that figure. But the truth is, that is not even the case. We sold 927 million. That's almost approximately a billion naira spent in, they said, Governor Oti's meals and other welfare packages for government house. This is the point where, as journalists, we ask ourselves, are we really doing this nation justice as a fortress of the estate if we cannot verify basic information as this? If we cannot verify basic information, information as basic as this, are we doing ourselves any good? Are we doing ourselves any justice? Now, I'm pointing out this to clearly say that it is not fair on the people of Abia State, or the governor of Abia State, or his team, his administration, that anyone will pull such stunts. And guess what? About 9 hours ago, or less than, about that time, okay, the chief press secretary have come out to say that there was nothing like that they were going to make an official statement. A lot of media brands carried it, but now an official statement is out. About 9 hours, I think it's just one brand and maybe Atlanta Television Network that is pushing this out right now. But when the story broke out and it was something to critique the governor on, everybody jumped on it. Can we also jump on it to begin to look at it that they spent less than 300 million, and it is for all the, not just the government house, not just for government house, but across the MDAs and parastatals of Abia State government, now which includes health issues, emergencies, and all of that. And it's not just about feeding the governor. And that was how they made this thing look, just for food. Governor has spent 900 and something million. Of course, people will jump on that and begin to tear the man apart as usual. But can we also try to be kind to ourselves when we find the few who are making moves, who are find a way to respect the fact that they are humans, and also ensure that when we carry some of these reports, that they are authentic reports, and they're not reports designed to, destroy whatever is left of the government. I'm saying this because we do a lot of things that may end up hurting us, especially when, as media practitioners, journalists, we don't investigate stories. You don't have the details of this. Even the document that has been circulated online wasn't detailed enough. It didn't have anything that could say, okay, this is what it is. But we're busy carrying these stories around, throwing it around, and making it look like, oh, it's what it is or what it's not. So, but can we also look at the issues around it and tell ourselves the truth that sometimes these things are not really what it's supposed to be? So they've come out to tell this story, and I hope that this serves as a lesson to everyone to say, hey, before you use and like I said, you could say you're not a media practitioner on social media. That should count for something, yeah? You have your name and your family name, maybe, for those who are genuinely out there with their name and their family name. That should count as something, right? Now, if as an organization you work with the broadcast media, it should also count for something that you need to protect that brand you work for. Whether it's your personal brand or you're working as a staff for an organization, you need to protect the brand. And I'm saying that because over time, we'll carry information, do things that will become inimical to the cause that we have all embarked on called journalism. Whether in broadcast media or print media, or even you as a citizen journalist, like I said. Remember, you have a family name to protect. Remember, you have your own name to protect. So when you see these stories, before you jump on and begin to make mincemeat of it, can you also try to verify that the information you have is authentic? Before you join the fray to criticize, call name, and pull down a government, to pull down an individual, can you also try to ensure that the information you have is the correct one? And if you are not sure, you're not very concrete sure, can you also try to mind how you comment on that so that you don't create a room to destroy other people, you don't create room to destroy another person. I believe that Dr. Alex Otti is not a perfect person because none of us is. But I also believe that for a man that's embarked on such a stride to ensure that one of the states in Nigeria that has been an embarrassment since its creation, because those who are supposed to be managing the affairs of the state do not care for the state, they only cared for themselves. All their paymasters, as the case may be, all their superior, if you may. But now there is someone who gives this person the support he requires and constructively critique him where necessary, and not just to jump on the fray wherever we see information and begin to tear people apart. Okay, I said it, that Governor Oti is not going to do anything for Abia people. See, can you imagine? Almost 1 billion for food alone in 3 months. But even because even if Alex Oti and government have come out to say that they actually spent that amount of money, had kept mum, but I believe that we'll carry placards, because you can't do that in a state that is struggled for so long, and you come in and you want to say you want to do something. No, we would have all reason to condemn that. But even though we would have done that, it would have also been from the side of knowing, ensuring that what we are saying is the right thing. We cannot just be attacking for attack's sake. We cannot see a story and just begin to tear whoever is involved apart. Yesterday, Tonto Dike came out to say, hey, we need to, was it 2 days ago, we need to find a way to bury mobile so that we can all rest. A lot of persons are creating a lot of motive behind it. So that is coming out to say, oh, you cannot bury my son. Okay, understand it. Can we take some of these things off the media? And actually stop seeing evil where none exists. Except when someone has given you a reason to believe that they're actually evil and they have an evil intention and what have you. I'm just saying that, can we begin to use our platforms right? Understand that the social media page you're privileged to have, yeah, you could say you're paying 1 or 2 naira for it. but it's a privilege because someone created it and gave you an opportunity to come on board it. Can we also begin to look at those social media pages and understand that there may be social attached to it, but there are responsibilities also attached to owning a social media platform? Primarily that in any issue, ensure that any information you're giving out is not going to destroy another person. There is not falsehood that will end up destroying another person. Can we try? Can we also give people a chance and understand that people are humans and they can also make mistakes at will? I'm just saying that until we get to the point where we can admit these things to ourselves, it may just be difficult for us to get to the kind of state or the kind of the country we want to. When the government is doing right, let's support them. But when they are taking steps that are inimical to, we will also raise the placard against them. But before we raise the placard, before we even raise the support, can we also try to ensure that we are on the right path with whatever view we are projecting into the universe, to the public? And that's been Anchor's Chat. Everyone will come back to you after the break. Welcome back to Atlantic Television Network Blowout. Let's kick off with some of the issues on the show today. The chairman of the House Committee on Disability Affairs, Honorable Bashiru Dawodu, has pledged the commitment of his committee to ensure full implementation of the Persons with Disabilities Act. Dawodu made the pledge on Monday at the meeting on Children with Disabilities and Disability Act in 2018. He said there are still issues of discrimination against people living with disability, while disclosing that plans are ongoing to reenact the law for stiffer penalties. The lawmaker, who acknowledged that there is a huge lacuna in the People Living with Disability Act and the amendment alone will not address all the challenges, said that the Child Rights Act needed to be amended to include the concerns raised by the community. On their part, persons with disability community urged the National Assembly to amend relevant laws to protect children with disabilities in the country. They said children with disabilities are excluded in educational system, adding that it is high time The Parliament reviews curriculum to capture special children. They also emphasize that the law that where the laws are made, there should be monitoring, evaluation, and implementation to ensure that it will be felt at the grassroots, while noting that issues concerning people with disability are most discussed in urban areas, leaving majority of those in rural areas. Here is a report.
The Child Act needs to be amendment, but it will gladden your heart to know that there is already an amendment or a reenactment for the Disability Act you are talking about that has passed first reading. This is also going to go into, at some point, to public hearing, where you can bring all these issues on the floor. So the process has already started. We think that the gaps or lacuna are so huge that it's not even amendable. I think it's going to have to be reenacted, which is actually the bill that is in the House right now. Some of you spoke about inclusive education. Absolutely, yes. You know, I always had an example of where some of my passion came from when I lived with persons with disability, kids with disability, when I was in high school, when I was also in the University of Lagos. And these gentlemen, because they were included, they became professors. And the one that became a doctor has actually treated more, quote and unquote, able people than persons with disabilities. So when we include everybody, the society is definitely better off.
Today is a very remarkable day because children with disabilities.
People lock up these children. We let parents know that having a child with disability is not a taboo. I personally have lost nephews and nieces out of the carelessness of my uncles who did not know that their children had autism and the rest of it. We thought that they were cursed because that was what the culture said about them. But working with such children, I have come to see that they are the most...
Such people among us or around us. The world has grown thin in its consciousness of being human, or humane, if you may. But we cannot lose sight because these are our siblings, issues that were not noticed. And then when you birth this child, it is interesting that proper regulation for religious religious institutes, especially when it comes to their prophecies and visions, because they have done more harm than good. Because sometimes when these kids are born, these prophets are the one who quickly tell the parents how these laws, the people living with disability act need to be upgraded to the point where institutions, irrespective of how big or how small they are held responsible when there are corporate accident that leaves people disabled or as a result of their actions, whether directly or indirectly, environmental degradation and what have you. In the right direction. We need to talk about structures where these people are, how to bring in, how to begin to ensure that buildings, corporate environments, government institutions are designed to accommodate people living with disabilities. I think that's a major conversation that is not ending anytime soon, because until we see the government do something about this, we cannot pretend that all of this seems to be okay, because they are not okay. So see a person living with disability, be kind to them, give an arm, give a support when necessary, because they are humans like you. As most of the time, is no fault of theirs that they ended up in a disabled state. All right, we'll take a quick break. I will come back to you because Barrister Kine Henry is live with us to discuss the issues on the news this morning. Stay with us. We'll back to you after now. So we